want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Welcome to episode 61 of Chippy Tea Podcast.
Think about that, did you?
Yeah. Where am I? Yeah, Chippy Tea Podcast is your chance, your opportunity to catch up with a video conversation that happens regularly between me, Tony P, and
Danny D, Flippy Sweet Print Co. All best.
as we try and catch up with what's happened since we last spoke and try and put the world to rights and try and solve some of the wrongs that happen in screen printing and a few other tangents as well. There's absolutely no guarantee it's 100% screen print, but that's loosely the base starting point for the conversation. So, with that bearing in mind, we will throw it straight across to Daniel. Number one, how have you been this week? Because I know that's a thing. And what have you been doing this week?
How have I been this week? I've been a little under weather. Just in case you didn't know. Been a little bit under weather last week. I had the old vid. You're not allowed to say the word because you get demonetised. Not that we get monetised anyway, but, you know.
Are you getting money?
Views who... Shit, let it slip.
The Rona.
The old Rona reared its ugly head again and wiped us out. King Goblin. Wiped us out last week. I had a pretty slow week because I was feeling pretty shit. And then it got to about Wednesday and I was like, I'm done. I can't actually get anything done. So this week I'm back on my feet. I'm not feeling 1,000,000%, but time to catch up. So I've sort of looked at it and thought, look, I need to tick some jobs off now. Get all my single colour stuff, chuck it into one big block. And this week I've just been knocking single colour jobs off, one after the other. Tons of bands.
Just for that sort of dopamine hit of that's finished, that's finished, that's finished.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, notes getting done. The overall timescale is exactly the same, really. But I just feel like I'm ticking boxes. You know, orders are disappearing off my list. It looks like it's shrinking. Really, if I'd have done all multicolour stuff first, it had all got done at the same time anyway. But you know what I mean. I think it just feels a bit better.
It does, yeah. It's a bit of a dopamine rush in that. Yeah, I've cleared 3 jobs today.
Yeah,
only 20 pieces each, but I've cleared them.
I mean, within reason as well. Like obviously, certain jobs have got time scales and deadlines, so you can't just ignore them. You have to get.
Have you got a bit of a cushion though? Do you give it?
No, it's quite hard to stall.
Get some dull collapse.
It started Tony last. The old banks were back in fine form.
Do you leave yourself a little bit of space then between, just in case something goes wrong? Or are you always working? I mean, we spoke to Alex, didn't we? And he's on like a 24-hour turnaround, which is
not
crazy pressure to put upon yourself.
Couldn't do it.
But good if you're charging a premium for it.
Yeah. I guess it's a thing, and it's sort of his IP, and if you've got the right mindset and the tool sort of job, then fair play to you. I definitely haven't got the right mindset for me. I need a cushion.
Yours?
I need a bit of breathing space. I try to just be as organised as I can. Just a couple of others. I need as much breathing space as possible, really. I won't say that I don't work well under pressure. I get the job done. I just prefer not to. I don't see why.
Yeah.
You know, stress is not a nice thing, and the more I can do to limit the amount of stress that I have, the better. Don't always work out that way. Things go wrong sometimes, or certain jobs take longer than you think. You get chuffing COVID, and you end up chuffing behind. So, but with a bit of luck, if I can get through the pain of this next couple of weeks, we'll be printing a damn sight faster. And the old spinning machine, the old washing machine. So fingers crossed for that one. I'm a little bit disappointed because I think quite a few weeks ago I thought all the electrics and stuff would be sorted by now, and I'd have had a press sort of round about now, end of October. But it's probably
Right,
going to
so we'll
back
just
end of November now.
stop you there, because let's put some clear points in.
Go on then.
Are you getting a press?
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
let's make it right. You are getting a press.
100%.
Are you prepared to tell us what colour you're going to paint the wall so it blends in?
No.
Okay,
No,
so
not
we're
yet.
gonna
Not
so
quite
we're looking
yet.
forward to like a gender reveal where we're going to pull a cannon.
Actually, Sarah messaged me. She sent me some, the little smoke bomb things. She sent me some links to some coloured smoke bombs.
Right, so let's have that then.
I'm
Let's have that
genuinely
then.
tempted to do it.
So percentage, I think you should. Yeah, percentage-wise, how far down the road are you of getting a press?
It was all balanced on the electric situation, and to an extent, it still is. But I'm confident and comfortable now that it's resolved. Basically, this building didn't have enough power.
You're on 60 amps, weren't you?
We're on 60 amps, which would have been very much pushing it. Now, I've had an application in with National Grid for quite a few weeks. So this is why it's a bit annoying, because it's that process that's held everything up. But finally, tomorrow morning, National Grid's coming here to survey it. They've actually approved the application to put 80 amps in.
Right.
So the way I look at it, 20 amp fuse for tunnel dryer, 20 amp fuse for flash dryer, 20 amp fuse for compressor.
Yeah.
That leaves another 20 amps, and that is more than enough to run lighting, the machine.
The press will run on like below 16.
Yeah,
I do know some people running it off a 13 amp plug. So
yeah, well, I've heard that that's a possibility.
I think it's supposed to be 16, but I'm not electrically qualified. I don't know what an amp is.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you either, to be honest. No. I thought it was for playing the guitar, but they're not.
They look very similar to a calorie, and I've never seen one of them either.
I've seen a few calories in my time. Tell me. I've had too many. That's my trouble. Hey, I tell me what. The old diet went, well, the old appetite went right out the window last week.
Rona. I could do some of that.
Could barely eat a thing. So last night, me and our lass went to Tob's Calves. And king side Tob's Calves, filled that bugger right up, and just to get my strength back up. I want to stuff my face for a few days, get back on my feet.
I like that bit of recovery.
Best way to do it. Get to send out Tob's.
Wow.
Yeah, situation is that then. Electricians, National Grid's coming tomorrow. Basically, just to have a look and say, yeah, we can do that. And then I'm pretty sure it'll be about a week before we actually do it. And the actual electrician's going to come put all my wiring in. So wire my compressor in, which I've already got. If you've seen the story.
So if you've got a compressor, that rules out a couple of people.
It rules out an all electric press. It does actually rule one out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually rules two out if you look at this week's press releases.
No, because the other one will sell normal presses. One of them, well, the red one, it rules that one out.
Yeah, the red one's gone. Yeah,
that's normal.
But there's another colour that will still run without a compressor.
Workhorse?
No, it's a green one.
I know Rocks. Yeah, well, they've just brought out an all-electric one. That's been flirted at me.
Flirted?
Yeah.
Floated?
That one's been dangled in front of me. You want this? Want a piece of this? Like, flashed a bit of leg.
So I had a quick look at that.
It looks all right.
There's a little bit about that I'm not sure about. I'd have to look into deeper, so I'm sort of coming a little bit ignorant here, so I'd have to do some research. But apparently it's got an air compressor built into it.
Oh, is that right?
So
I don't
it's
know.
Not 100% electric.
Right.
So it's got a little air compressor built in, which means the chop system is still air-driven. Which makes sense, because they'd have to completely, totally re-engineer the whole thing, like an Anatol with a bar. Or a Sabre with a bar, a Workhorse with a bar.
Yeah.
Or a Browns. I saw a Browns in America, which it was a The whole thing worked on shafts and cams, and something turned, and this moved this, and then this pushed this down, and that went like that, and then the squeegee came down. I'm like, well, it's ingenious, but I quite like the idea, actually. And I used to run a hydraulic press, which was had a so the hydraulic precision oval. This had an oil compressor underneath. So the whole thing was driven on hydraulic oil.
Oh, wow.
So when the compressor blew up, that was the only press that kept running. Because it basically made its own pressure of oil. And that worked really, really well.
Wow.
I presume the rock is a very similar sort of thing, but instead of using oil, it's using air. And that means it's got a little mini compressor under the hood to do the chop action. The screen lift up and down is done by an electric motor. And this is a little bit hearsay, so I've got to be careful. I don't want to get sued or anything. But the little
negative.
The little bits of info that I've seen mean that they've not changed the chop system of the squeegees. Chop is the squeegee, not the registration system like some people think. Then that would
bloody amateurs.
That would mean you get an award for that now.
Straight in. What we've been 5 minutes and he's in there with
5 minutes, yeah. So that would mean that system doesn't change and it's still built from underneath. It's only the lifting and lowering of the screens that's changed, which would make sense. I'm okay with that. My downside to that system is if you buy more than one press, you're now running 2 compressors. By a third press, you're running 3 compressors. So would it save money on electric when you're running 3 compressors for 3 presses, whereas normally you'd run 1 compressor which would run 3 presses? That's my only take on that, without looking too deeply into it, because it was only released like 3 days ago, and I've not looked much into it.
Yeah, I only sort of briefly looked through brochure. Alex sent me a brochure to have a look at. As if it does end up being green, it'd be the air compressor run.
The one that uses air.
The U,
the one that uses air.
Yeah. So. Yeah. What about Workhorse? Do they run all electric?
Can you buy Workhorse in England?
I don't think you can here. I might be wrong. I think, was it Kipax at one point? But I think now they're all Anatol, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they were, yeah. I don't think Workhorse do an electric one. I think they're all air compressor. It's Browns, which we don't see many Browns over here.
Oh, you can get them in Australia.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a couple of Australian fellas have bumped into them.
Taz was always big in Australia. Never made it over here.
Yeah, there was one. Yellow, wasn't it?
Yellow, yeah. I've worked in a few shops with Taz's in that are bringing them out. They all, so the Taz, the Anatol, the Workhorse, they're all, have to be, without being sort of commercially viable to anything, they're all very similar system to the M&R system, which is an open clamp system and a lift and lower of pallets system. So the M&R seems to be like the world leader in building these fast circular machines, and then everybody copied that design. It's only over the last 20 years that people have, hang on, let's take that out, put a servo in. Let's stop lifting the pallets, and let's lift and lower the screens.
Yeah.
Let's change the air-driven motors for the squeegees for servo ones. And then slowly but surely we've got the sort of like the 3 that are big now in the industry that use that system of lift and lower the screens, not the pallets. Use pins or a clamping system to aid registration, and have everything quick change, everything no tools. When I first started, you need a snap-on rolling toolbox with you. If you didn't have a 3/8 Tommy Tea bar, you couldn't set your screens up. You're like, have you got Tommy Tea bar? So, what the fuck is Tommy Tea bar? It's the only thing you could use to move the the clamps that held the screen in forwards and backwards because the screens were all different sizes. And changing pallets was roughly, I think on the old Sias Multipla Ds, changing a pallet would be 90 minutes, changing the pallets.
Hell.
I know, yeah.
And like an Anatol.
3 wing nuts onto MDF, it wasn't even MDF, I think it was plywood, laminated with Perspex. And the Perspex was on a hinge, so you lift the Perspex up, put your lay sheet in, put the Perspex back down, tape the Perspex down onto a wooden board that had 3 wing nuts, which would always pull the screws out, and it would just take such a long time. It's why we, I say this all the time, the process, automatic screen printing, was really invented for mass production of minimum 3,000 pieces a day because it was so hard to get to the first print. That first print was so expensive because it took so much time to get to. 4 hours was normal. If you got a machine changed over, lay sheets changed, everything cleaned over, boards changed, squeegees cleaned, new screens set up inside 4 hours. With 2 of you, you'd worked hard. That was Saturday morning.
Now, what is it now? Minutes? Once you get into auto world, as long as you've got some sort
3 to 5 minutes.
Good.
I know, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be such a game changer for me. Even now, jobs can take an hour or two just to get perfect on that manual, and then getting into auto world, it's just gonna cut that down drastically.
Yeah. Gender reveal.
Yeah, so there'll be a gender reveal.
I think that's a good idea. Let's have a gender reveal. Chippy Tea gender reveal.
Yeah. So what about you? Where have you been?
All over the place.
Should we go back last week? Where were you last week?
Germany.
Oh, that's right. You were in Germany, weren't you?
I was in Hanover at our friend Lucas. Happy Lucas, with a happy, cheery, smiley face. Underneath is a really jolly
Lucas.
person.
I'm sure he's a lovely bloke.
He is. Went over to see the guys again over there. Been once, as usual. Staff changes, things change, and Lucas wasn't there. So Lucas was sunning himself on a beach in Spain somewhere, and I was helping, procedural wise as well as process and improving technical ability. The sort of like the second phase of my first visit. First visit is assessment and see what you do, and the second one we're going to go, okay, let's put some things in process here.
You sure you won't just bank stuff?
And then I'll go back again. There's a little bit of babysitter as well, but I'll go back again probably in a certain amount of time and monitor the steps that we put in. We sit down, we have a long discussion of what we think. It's good to have a second set of eyes come in and look at your business with
big style,
a positive but productive mindset.
Yeah.
And I tell you the easiest thing in the world, the absolute easiest thing in the world, is go to someone else's place and find all the faults.
Yeah,
that's really easy. Anybody can do that. If I give you a T-shirt that I bought somewhere else, if I've been to Disney World and spent all my time in the merchandise department, then
looking at purple glitter prints. Well, let's be honest, we all bloody do it, Tony.
Then the easiest thing in the world is to pull it to bits, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Not that I'd ever do that.
No. It's my favourite hobby. It's funny actually. I had a fella come by the other day to buy. I sold a screen cart and a dip tank.
Oh yeah, I saw you selling them.
Yeah, I got rid of them. And,
to an established printer or to a baker?
Just a
Greg's. Sent it back to Greg's.
Just a fella who prints his own like little clothing brand type of thing out of his garage. But this is where them beers come from actually. They give me a couple of beers as part of the deal. Part of the transaction.
It's my kind of deal.
Yeah. And yeah, we were talking. We got talking about print and stuff, and I actually brought you up, and I was saying how you can't sort of you can. I can run this shop. I've been running this shop for 11 years, and you will come in and you'll just pick things that are like real obvious and stuff. But I'm completely oblivious to and blind to, because I'm just so involved in what I've been doing for past 11 years, and all the simple little things. They might be simple, they might be complex, but there's so many things in this shop, and there's so many things about my process that can be tweaked to get those percentages, those marginal gains, that I'm just blind to. It's staring at me in the face. I can guarantee it. There'll be loads of things that are just obvious, and when you come one day and point them out, I'll be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah, that's obvious." You know what I mean? But it's like you just need that fresh pair of educated eyes.
You need a third pair of eyes. I call it a third pair of eyes. When you see that someone walks in and goes, you know, I love the answer. I hate it and love the answer at the same time. I hate it because it shouldn't exist, and I love it because it means that it gives me a chance to improve. And the answer is, why do you do it like that? That's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
It's that's the way we've always done it. Has nobody questioned why? Well, no, the guy before us did that, and the guy before him did that, and the guy before him did that. You know, and we can look at sort of old dip tank routines to old setup and old taping routines that, you know, were good in the 80s. When I was good in the 80s, and I'm not now. You know, we've got to change and adapt and move on as we go forward. Otherwise, it just becomes stagnant, and we just do things because that's the way somebody else did it.
Yeah.
It just so happens that the other guy was a cock.
I mean, there must be a million variables in screen printing, and it takes a lot of years of, you know, self-taught to get those variables in line and tick those boxes and produce a good product. And I can understand where once you've done it, or what you feel like is ticking those boxes and getting the right variables in place, you'll be reluctant to change because of the pain you've gone through to get to that place.
Yeah.
But you have to keep looking to improve, don't you? And you have to. There's always room for improvement, and everything can always be better. Nobody's 1,000,000% cracked it.
I've learnt more in this last 10 days. I've been learning stuff in this last 10 days that I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, there are all sorts of things that I thought I knew. And then through exposure and experience, I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, that is a better way. That is a good way. That is an improvement on what we already do. You know, Lucas has got some stuff going on that I'm like, I can't find a reason not to do that. In fact, I can't find a reason not to tell everybody else to do that. You know, that's such an improvement. Yeah, won't let me. Yeah, he'll come and beat me up. But
they're tall buggers, aren't they, Germans and like Dutch and stuff like that.
Yeah, everybody's. It's just us that are short, mate. Everybody else is 6 foot's normal for everybody else. It's sort of like we're short over here. But yeah, it's
beauty of the industry, that though, isn't it? That you'll never stop picking new things up. Things will always be evolving, and there's always new things you'll pick up. Well, even you, it was like
I learn every time. You know, everything. This last 10 days, I've learned loads. You know, things that I thought were, I'll always do it like that, and then, you know, because I know it works, and then I've seen someone else do it, and yep, it just went dark. Yeah,
your £5 light's working well.
For £3.5 I've put in it.
What you else spent?
Yeah, and then you know, it's how much we are open to change. If we're open to change, we can, you know, we keep improving the industry, and if not, we're screwed. We just
come from a number of places as well. Come from a number of places as well, can't it? There can be, like I say, there can be hesitation out of fear of, oh God, I've got it right now. I don't want to go. I don't want to stray off and kiss it all falls to bits.
It ain't broke. Don't fix it. Yeah.
There might be an ignorance. You might just think you're a Billy. You might be a bit of a Billy Know-It-all, but really, oh shit.
Is it Billy Know-It-all?
Shit.
I quite like that.
No,
Billy Know-It-all.
It's good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I quite like that. Billy Know-It-all.
That's sort of my thing. Just making up my own catchphrases.
I might be Billy Know-It-all.
I'm gonna write a book one day.
That's my only option. That's my only problem. I might be Billy Know-It-all.
Well, I won't say I took inspiration, but. So let's just. Oh God,
that's working well.
Dropped your shackles.
Yeah, that's me £5.
So now that you're back,
That's my influencer ring light that I've got now.
yeah, got a selfie stick. Oh God. So speaking of improvements and stuff, let's pluck one out each. It's difficult for you. Let's talk about your processes as a consultant. Is there anything in particular right now that you think I want to just improve this? Whether it's your actual material that you have to show your people, or is it an in-person thing where you bring out the old whiteboard?
For me, there's a and it is really that. It's almost if you read my mind there. Did you get it?
Got it.
With chopsticks, like Mr. Miyagi.
Caught it and sort of landed in between my fingers.
For me, it's I am working a little bit harder behind the scenes on graphics to represent what the point I'm trying to get across. So I now have sort of like a library of PDFs that I use, which explain to people the crap that comes out my mouth. Which is, I used to use a whiteboard, and it became obvious that there's absolutely not one creative bone in my body. I can't draw for shit. Even my picture of a squeegee and an eye looks rubbish. So I started to use a little bit more of that inside the sort of like the visual aids to what I do.
Yeah.
So the me going across and talking shit for an hour, great. But the visual aids that I use, they are now improving. So that's a sort of an improvement that I'm making. That I realised I was a little bit lacking in that,
Right.
I can talk a fight. I can talk a great fight. But, when it comes down to actually putting up my fists, I'm like, I'm a bit crap at this. So I need some...
I had, a lot of years ago, I had an eBay consultant. So very much similar to you, but her expertise was in basically selling on eBay. And I had her offer for a few days. So one of the things that sticks to mind is it was invaluable. It worth every penny. I learned, so much, and it did take me on forward. I was really, really good at selling on eBay. Really, really good. But one of the things that stuck with me is she left me with a bunch of material, basically all the things that she'd gone over. And to this day, I can go to a filing cabinet downstairs and pull them out. And just, I could remember them, and they're all invaluable. So that is probably a good thing for you to do, to have some material. Maybe have a bunch of flyers pre-printed of various different things that you will typically, commonly explain to people on your visits.
I think it's a double-edged sword for me, and I don't know if this is my confidence or not, but it's a double-edged sword in that if I write it down and make it in such an easy way that you can see it from a flashcard, let's say, am I then required? So if somebody just if somebody just screenshots my flashcard, can they just move it from there? And it's a slow process at the minute, understanding that it's an aid, it's not the be all and end all. It's part of the process.
Yeah, and for me, those cards, whatever you call them, flashcards. Flashcards were a reminder of what we talked about in depth and in discussion. If you come to me, and we have a couple of days, I guarantee you, the second you walk out that door, forget half of it. There'll be stuff, obviously, I'll retain. But me, the way my head works. But if I've got a lot of it written down, you know what I mean? And that's all. So it's something to consider, isn't it? Something that might work.
That's part of my process. It leads into the sort of like, if you're going to do this as an academy, if you're going to do this in a classroom setting, then you can't just sit and talk shit for an hour. You've got to have
material and stuff.
It's a bit more about you. Yeah,
you do. Bit of something about it. Yeah. So, would you like to know what I would like to improve?
Yes. What would you like to improve, Daniel?
Fresh on my mind. In particular, I would like to increase my LPI from 55 to 65. Now, our mate Dean at Pyramid is planning a visit of because I've switched emulsion. I'm using the Aqua Plus something or other.
Triton Aqua Plus. How are you finding it?
Fantastic.
So that's the third report I've got that's found it fantastic, and I'm always on the lookout for one of the questions I get asked all the time. My emulsion keeps breaking down. What's the problem?
Yeah.
My emulsion keeps breaking down. What's the problem? Now there are process problems with humidity and timing and controlling the moisture. All these things, underexposure, overexposure, light source. All these things come into play. But also, I'm finding the brand of emulsion. So I'm not endorsed by anybody, so I'm free to say whatever the hell I like about any emulsion whatsoever. Yep. And I've endorsed one particular red kind of emulsion for about 5 years. And for me, it's been superb. And over the last 6 months, the feedback I get from the coalface, if you like, from the people that are using it, is it's not as good anymore. Or I've done something different. Which one is it, Tony? Well, there's so many of you saying it's changed that it could have actually changed. And you ring the company up and you say, has your emulsion changed? No, it's been the same formula for the last 150 years and we don't change it and it should be good and it's the user's fault. Well, all right, I'll accept it's the user's fault if it's 1 in 10. But when it's 7 in 10, maybe it's not the user's fault anymore. So, for me, finding a good emulsion is paramount. And once you find it, don't keep it to yourself, share it. So right now, the best emulsion that I'm getting feedback from, bear in mind, I don't have a shop, so I don't use it. I only base it on feedback, is the Triton, the Aqua Plus. The Lava, and the Plus Aqua Plus, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember which mine. Mine might be Plus Aqua, actually.
I think it's Plus Aqua, yeah.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, look, the particular red one, I've got on with it for years and years, and I can work with it, and I can make it work, and I can print with it, and it's a great emulsion. Actually, I really like it. It's
a one-pot photopolymer with very fast exposure times.
Straight out at pot jobs are good. But it was just V2 white. It was just. I want to use the word breaking down, but V2 white as an ink is quite aggressive, isn't it? And
it's an aggressive ink, yeah.
It won't.
Feels nice, though.
Oh, beautiful.
We get a Magna colours in there. Look.
God bless Magna. God bless Teresa and everybody else.
All the sales in there. Yeah.
Anybody involved in potential sponsorship? I'm actually thinking.
And people say you're a sellout. I don't know what they're talking about.
We'll see about that in a couple of weeks, won't we? I'm actually gonna. Oh no, let's not. Let's move on. Emulsion. Is there what else I need to talk about? Yes. So what do I would like to improve? So now that I've got this new emulsion, that I'm quite happy with, as being very water resistant. I'd like to really dial in my halftones and get a real nice dot and get real fine dots. And luckily, our mate Dean at Pyramids offered to come down and help me with it. Okay. So he's gonna come down.
Up to Dean. Dean is the emulsion guru of the UK. If there's anything to be known about screens, emulsion, your screen room, exposure systems, Dean is the main guy in the UK, really.
I believe he
doesn't actually even specialise in ink and stuff. He's just all about your pre-press equipment.
I believe he helped develop certain emulsions.
He's been around for a long time. He's older than he looks. He's at least 105. So, it's, he's very knowledgeable in the pre-press department. And he's the guy that I ring up when I've got an issue with stuff. So, absolutely.
So he's going to come up.
He's an absolute asset to have in your sort of like back pocket. You go, well, this is not working. Why? And he'll be able to tell you, most of the reasons why. But it's you. You're a dick.
You dial him. Stop using Fairly Liquid to degrease your screens, dickhead.
Very Liquid and an LED floodlight you bought from Disco's Arrows.
Gosh. Good gosh. Do you know Accurip?
I
You
do
know
know a
accurate?
little accurate, yeah.
Right. The fact that you said that has led me on to another question. What is the most common rip software that you see? That's not where I'm going with this, but now you've got me thinking.
I know you so well. I know where you're going to go with this. You're going to go with the ratio of mesh to dot size.
Oh, we're going to go with stochastic.
Stop being stochastic. So, top rip softwares. I would say number one by popularity are the ones that are attached to the imaging device. So the imaging device that I see the most is the Spider. Therefore, the rip device attached to the Spider and sold with and accompanying is the Filmmaker Screenmaker series.
Yeah.
Which, if you strip away the pretty labels, is actually a I had the name in my head.
Ooh, I hate when that happens.
Oh,
It's all right.
Digital Factory, made by. I'll come back to that.
Got time?
So it's made by someone else. So the rip is actually another. It's based on another rip. God, that's annoying. Which all comes back to like a Harlequin rip. So the Harlequin rip will do.
I have no idea what that means.
Absolutely everything, but you don't need everything. So we take some bits out and we make something else out of it.
Oh, all right.
And then we take some bits out of it and make it. It's like when you
Right.
buy when you buy a car, right? And it's got 3 buttons that don't work.
Yeah.
We call them poverty buttons.
You don't really get that nowadays, do you? That's a bit of a 90s, 80s
heated
thing.
seat. There's no heated seat in this.
Right.
No, the poverty button. So the top ones are the Harlequin rip, which is all singing, all dancing. You almost have to know exactly what you're doing with it. So stripped down, it goes to Screenmaker, Filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wasatch is still big.
Yeah, no, I need to look at this one because I believe
I
this
like
offers...
Wasatch.
How do you spell that?
Wasatch.
Wasatch. What a weird word.
It was called
like
soft rip.
Without S
like Sasquatch, yeah. So it was called soft rip back in 90s when I were doing it.
Yeah, what's that? Soft rip.
Soft rip. And soft rip was a really good $2.5 grand. Oh, it's probably subscription based now.
Whoa.
It's probably subscription based.
I can't actually find a price.
No,
it's one of those where you have to like sort of
you won't find a price now.
Bit chunky on the old wallet.
Yes, but for me, I used it on an Epson.
Well, this is where I'm sort of halfway going. Like, I'm talking about 65 LPI, which I don't think is a crazy stretch for film. Okay. But much higher than that, you need direct to screen, really, don't you? I know you went somewhere that did 80 with stochastic dots, and they would do it with film. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
What's his head this time? Danny's put his foot in it again.
No, so we have to sort of like break all those comments down a little bit. The ability to rip at a higher line count will usually depend on the software that you have and how much you paid for it. Right. It's almost like the software companies say, you're not clever enough for that. You just stay in your lane. This is your lane. Stay in this. Our software will do all this, but just a t-shirt printer, you only need this little bit. Press the t-shirt button. Come on, stay in your lane. And we tend to stay around about the 50 line count mark.
Yeah.
That's come down 10 over the last 20 years.
To 45.
No, from 65. The standard.
Oh, right.
The standard 30 years ago was 65, 62 and a half. But
so we've gone backwards a little bit.
So we've gone backwards. We've dropped down. Yeah, we've dropped down to 53. 53, somebody said, okay, 53. So there is a golden ratio where the dots that you can produce, the frequency of dots that you can produce is totally tied dependent upon the mesh count that you use.
Yeah.
So the two are tied. It's not how much quality you want. It's not how good a printer you are or what blade you're using. It's completely tied to the mesh count.
Yeah.
So the frequency of the lines of the mesh and the frequency of the dots must be compatible to avoid anti-moire.
Do you see the old the Cambridge pronunciation? You might not have seen that on Discord.
No.
Somebody put a link to it.
I haven't seen it. So my take would be there was a W in there. Moire.
Yeah. Anybody with half a brain cell would call it Moire.
Yeah.
Well, the Cambridge dictionary.
Yeah.
You can go find there's a video where they pronounce every single word, and they pronounce it moire.
Moire. That's
like
probably right. Yeah.
Kiss off your grandma, isn't it?
Moire.
If she were French. What a load of shite! It's Moire.
That just made me think of the Amsterdam Dad, and I don't want to go there.
Amsterdam Dad, I don't know that one. Maybe it's probably best to
don't Google that.
All right.
That's a new story.
That's
a new story this week. Amsterdam Dad.
Amsterdam? I'm going to have to Google that.
I don't.
Will I regret this?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% you will.
Yeah, but that's one of those things where you're like, don't look now, and you can't help but you're going to have to look.
Don't look at this car crash, yeah. So, with that relationship between... People think it's a relationship between how good a printer am I? Can I hold that dot? Is my system good enough? It's not. It's down to mesh.
I'm talking about running sim process jobs at 65 LPI on 90s. This is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not going to do a vector artwork on a 43.
So the argument is the 65 and the 90 are incompatible.
Oh, is that right?
That's the argument.
So is there a calculation that gets it to
there's a number.
Or...
Do you have AccuRip on your computer?
Yeah, got it open now.
So when you go into half-tone LPI, is there a little helpful note at the bottom? Do I have?
Configure half-tone. Right, so at the minute, I'm set at 55 LPI, and there is no real notes.
Is there a ratio there in the number in the box if you configure it?
No, it's very basic. This is why I was asking about RIP software.
I have AccuRip? AccuRip is good, but I would only use AccuRip if I had a film printer. I wouldn't use AccuRip for direct to screen.
No.
Okay, I have. License has expired.
It might still work, because I think you might be able to.
No, it doesn't work. There's like a half-tone box where they use a ratio of 3.35 to 1, which means you take your mesh count and you divide it by 3.35, and that's your optimal. Excuse me. That's your optimal dot count.
I'll give you it.
Yeah, over here. Yeah. The only issue is that number changes. That number changes according to whether you're American or European, because obviously the numbers change. Do we use a rough guide was always about 4, and we're like 4 from 90. Well, no, because 90 is a 230. So 230 divided by 4, and then we start to get our magic 55, 56.
Right. Yeah.
So that's where we get the ratio. We start to convert to inches to real numbers, centimetres. That's when we start to get a little bit of confusion. So I'm not a big believer in this magic ratio. I know I can hold a 53 LPI as low down as a 43.
Yeah.
But only if my imaging device is calibrated. My exposure.
They're back.
Only if I must stop talking with my hands. My exposure is dialed in perfectly. My coating technique is dialed in perfectly. I'm using a glass or I'm not using a glass, whichever one it is. All these factors must be dialed in before I even think about looking at ratio of dots to mesh. I famously went over to Bergamo in Italy, 2016, 7 years ago, to see the virus inks being printed.
Yeah, I remember this.
And the prints that I saw were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
They were superb. And I asked what the dot was. It was like, it's 110, 120. How are you keeping that? We're using 160, 180 meshes. What? How? Because we don't go above a 120. In fact, I would say that 120 now is the sort of like the black sheep of the family. Not many people use 120s anymore.
No. I'm tempted to dabble, but you don't see it too often.
People use 90s, and then you've got to think about putting a base on that as well. You've got to come down even further.
Yep.
And that's when you're going to start losing detail or getting wah. That was my granny giving me a kiss thing. Mwah.
Anti-moire.
Anti-moire.
Same, does it?
No, anti-moire. Giving us a mwah.
Chuffing anti-moire is turned French now. Anti-moire. That's a French cousin.
It might be a female.
No. Oh, anyway, that mystery. I can't get into that. It gives me a headache. I've gone round in circles for too long now. I can't get over it. That's the point again.
You just accept it,
yeah. So Germany were a good old trip.
Germany was a fantastic trip.
It
rained like mad. It was miserable, but yeah, a good week. Lucas has a good solid team over there who know what they're doing. They print some. I'd like to touch on this.
Go on then.
So the things we're printing, the subject matter.
The subject matter or the substrate?
No, the subject matter. Substrate I don't care about really. There's always been t-shirts. There's good and bad. There's cheap and nasty. There's expensive.
So what do you mean by subject matter? Like
it's the one thing you don't like, the bands.
Oh, right. So I know where you're coming from now. I'm off of these bands at the minute. I'm doing all right with them.
So when I think of screen printers, right? Okay, I've been around for a long time, and you cut me in half, you can count the rings. There's fucking shitloads of them. And historically, printing has been promotional or fashion.
Yeah,
and it's sort of like it's in between those two.
Yeah,
I would say that promotional is disappearing. But it's been replaced by merchandise.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Which means that the screen printer is changing. The screen printer is no longer a guy who has a contact for promotional merchandise whose mate wants to sell loads of bags or loads of teas or loads of cars or whatever it is or loads of cider. It's now my mate's in a band. And this sector of the industry, whether it's just my exposure to it or not, I don't know. It's not like, if you buy a red car, you see loads of red cars. Or whether it is a real factor. When I count my customers and the people I speak to individually on a daily basis, the number of people who are printing for band merchandise is in the high 90%. Which means the people who are running those shops are associated with the band industry. Remember, a long time ago, I said, you have to have a passion for what you're printing. I think we used awesome merch as an example years and years ago. Yeah. Even though we were only going a year, but years and years ago, we said.
Yeah, over years ago,
you had to have a passion. The guys at Awesome were at the gigs every night.
Yeah.
Enjoying the music that the bands that they were printing for the next day were performing. Whereas an old man in a grey suit would never go to that gig. No. So therefore could never sell that printed material. And whether it's just the last sort of like 10 shops I visited, the owners or the managers or the people that have the influence go to gigs, are involved in the band scene. So therefore moving those circles. And it seems like the people with the most money to spend on printed goods are performance artists. I posted some pictures on my Instagram from some bands that Lucas was printing for, Blood Incantation and Gate Creeper. And people from all over the world messaged me to say, "Oh, I love that band. They once came to my town in North Mexico, and I thought they were fantastic. And in New Mexico, they came and they did this. And I remember when they came to Pennsylvania, and I'm like, wow, I had no idea. And this is this is testament to industry changing. You know, bands, and certainly a certain type of metal band.
Yeah.
I want to raise this point without sort of categorizing people.
I know exactly where you're coming from, but I'm trying not to.
The punk
do what you're trying not to do.
I know, yeah, I'm trying not to. The punk and the
metal, doing it.
The punk, the metal, the death, the sort of like screaming rock and roll stuff.
Yeah,
they used to be the renegades. You know, the people that pushing against the system. Now they're all vegan tree huggers. You that listens to Satan Wants to Screw My Daughter and all that crap. You go out and you say, "Oh no, I can't eat meat."
Oh no.
Gluten. Oh no, we don't do gluten.
Oh, I'll have a Baileys and lemonade, please.
Yeah, did I miss a trick?
Use veal. Well, I didn't know where you're going. I didn't know you were going in that direction, but yeah.
Did you not know? I didn't actually when I started the conversation because it were about LPI, so I didn't know we were going in that. That was a tangent and a half. That was a Tony tangent. We don't get many of them.
No, we don't. I mean, demographic of where screen printers come from. I always sort of stereotype and say the vast majority are just people who are in bands. Like we had Alex on, and he was a person who was in a band who realised he's not happy with the merchandise the band are buying, or just do it myself. I feel like that is a very common story. Well, I don't know. I'm not criticising that.
You look over the pond. Who's the most famous guy you can think of in screen printing in America?
Marshall Atkinson.
You should have said Tony. You should have said Tony Palmer. To be fair,
Tony Palmer, yeah.
So Ryan Moore, you know, and he started the whole thing from he was a music fan in a band.
So he must be cool.
I don't know. Is he cool to you? Ooh, there's a little hint there. Look.
Cut that out. Cut that out. I mean, yeah, I love that guy.
So we have that sort of that whole theory of I was in a band, I wanted some shirts, couldn't get any, decided to do my own, learned how to do it, made a business. And
such a common story.
You know, even where I was in Germany, I heard that story 3 times. I was only in one shop and I heard that story 3 times. And I come back over here, and even if you think of Sarah, she's very similar. Alex at Supreme, very similar. Doom and Bloom, where I was before, very similar. All these, they follow the same sort of pattern. It's worth noting because I think some people's perception of the average screen printer is a guy who wants to sell printed material on the market. No, I would say 80% of them are in a band, or they know someone in a band, or they want to be in a band.
Yeah, it's a shift, isn't it? It's a shift in the way. It's a shift in who is setting up businesses now. So I think that'll be in lots of industries. I'm not saying everybody who's in a band decides to become a baker, but I feel like maybe younger people are setting up businesses, but it's a different demographic and it's a different starting point and reason for why they want to do it.
Yeah.
The old 80s businessman. It's not a thing anymore, is it?
The mentality is different.
Businessmen don't wear suits.
No.
You know what I mean? Businessmen don't wear suits anymore.
Businessmen T-shirts and jeans.
Crappy, knackered.
Usually long sleeve black gildan. Yeah.
Usually have tattoos.
With red and white text on it.
Nose rings.
Yeah.
God. Isn't it interesting? I wonder if it's a good. I don't know if it's a good thing. I feel like it must be
I
a good
think it
thing for
is,
the
yeah.
industry because it comes from a place of we want better than
Yeah.
what we were currently getting.
Yeah,
So
I think
that
it's
in
a great
itself,
thing. Yeah.
and you only have to look at people like Alex and Sarah and all the big band printers who else started as a band. I'm sure there's lots. I'm sure there's some very big names.
90% of them, yeah.
Yeah, and the quality of work they're putting out is not just commercially acceptable. They want it to be better. They always want it to be better.
Yeah.
Always try to improve. So that's a good sign, a good thing.
I think so, yeah.
I'm here for it.
Defo.
Right, can I go for a wee? And then I'm going to crack open my second beverage.
Okay.
Jack's not here yet.
Oh?
It comes with his motorbike, My Screen Goblin.
All right, yeah.
Fact,
The mechanic.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm
you've got to
just
sort
doing
that out then.
Wait, I'm having another beer.
Another beer. None for Screen Goblin.
I've gone for a... No. Sort of drunk them all now, to be honest. But I'm having... Hawkstone cider, and apparently this is something to do with Jeremy.
Oh, from Jeremy Clarkson, yeah. Yeah, it's just from Diddley Squat.
That's the one. Yeah.
So give us a. So we need an assessment then. First gulp. Grows his own barley, makes his own lager.
Oh, how you know that? I think it's cider. Is it cider?
It's lager.
No, cider.
Hawkstone's lager, isn't it?
Hawkstone cider.
Have you tasted it already?
Unless it's cider flavoured lager. Lovely. I got a call to actually, no, I got an email this morning. So I did a job a few weeks back. In fact, it was way over a few weeks ago. It was like a month or two ago. And there was an issue with print. I printed it too large. It was not an actual print issue. I'd used the wrong artwork. Made one of those silly little mistakes where the customer had sent me some new artwork and I just forgot to overwrite it. Overwrite the file. It's just a silly little thing.
Yeah.
So I agreed to yeah, don't even worry about it. Don't have to explain it or anything.
How many shirts?
It was only it was 20. It was not an issue whatsoever. So I said, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll reprint them obviously. Get them back to me, and I'll cover the cost of returning them. And then when they get back to me, I'll reprint them. So anyway, weeks go by, about a month. About a month goes by, and they've not got to me. And then they emailed me to say, "Why? Where's my reprints?" So I said, "We didn't send them back." So I just assumed you kept them. Decided you didn't want to replace them in the end. And my fucking God, did World War III kick off on the phone?
Yeah,
absolutely potty over the gall I had to insist that you return your shirts for reprinting. And I used the argument, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you don't agree with me, I used the argument, I mean, if you buy something from Amazon or Argos, and there's something up with it, you take it back and they give you a refund or replace it. And they used the phrase, I don't see you as an Amazon or an Argos.
So my argument with this particular subject is food. You're in a restaurant. They deliver your food. And a lot of my family work in restaurants and the servers and stuff, and it's like, okay, so this food was shit. I want my money back. But you ate it all. Yeah, that's how I knew it was shit, because I ate it all. It can't have been that shit if you ate it all. 2 mouthfuls. If you had 2 mouthfuls and then said it was shit, I understand, and I'll give you it for free.
Yeah.
But you ate it all and then said it was shit? No. It was either shit or it wasn't. Well, I had to eat it because I was hungry. So it was acceptable then.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like, if you're
just let me dickhead and dog out. Go on, Robbie.
I mean, if
you have a bad meal, would you expect a refund if you'd eaten it all?
No, you wouldn't. If it were that bad, you'd say, "Look, sorry, I can't eat this."
Yeah,
and then maybe you'd get a refund or whatever, or replace it or whatever.
Yeah,
but from my point of view, and I'm sure everybody else is the same, who prints shirts, if there's ever an issue, first thing you do is get them back.
Mm.
Just on the, just, how would I know? I've only not been to a couple of events warning for a month. I thought, hey, let's get some new fresh ones, I mean, if we were good enough for that event,
I had an old boss that would insist on taking them back. And the customer would say, and I've heard this exchange in real life. The customer would say, "Well, what do you want them back for?" I'm going to put them in the back garden and burn them. Well, if you're going to do that, I might as well keep them. No, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. I'm going to put them in the back garden, make a bonfire, I'm going to burn them. Because you say they're no good. I understand, and I'll give you a reprint for free. I've got no problem with it. But you're not keeping the originals. Give me them back.
Of course not.
Well, you're not going to do anything with them. I might as well sell them for half price. No, give me them back.
Nope.
And I'll burn them.
No,
and I'll film me burning them and send it to you. I've got no problem with it. I'll set them on fire and I'll burn them. Because you say they're no good, I will completely and utterly pay the price for refunding them, reprinting them and everything. Give me originals back and watch me burn them.
Yeah. You'll think I'm making this up now. You'll think I'm embellishing this story off the back of what you've just said. But genuinely, one of the lines in the email was basically...
They're not fit for burning.
They're not fit for burning. No, it was basically they wanted proof. So I just said, obviously, I'm not going to do out with them. I'm going to destroy them. I'm going to use them for shop bags. And they'd asked for proof that they'd been destroyed. Bear in mind, this is for 20 T-shirts. And we're not talking about,
20 quid T-shirts each.
Buckingham Palace or anything. It's not like a particularly interesting mega company or something where it's all sensitive.
It reminds me of a funny story. I once bought a phone cover. Okay, just the clip on the back phone cover from a company called Taurus. I've loved them. Used them for ages. They're really slimline. And I had a problem with one. And so I rang them up and said, look, I've got a problem with this. It's cracked where it shouldn't have cracked. They said, no, send us a picture. So I sent them a picture. I said, okay, don't understand, really apologise. Here's a replacement, but we want you to destroy the original that's cracked. But it's cracked, so why am I going to destroy it? No, we want you to send us a short video of it being destroyed. So do you know what I did? I gave it to the dog. I gave it to the dog, and the dog ripped it to pieces. It was like, completely destroyed it. Sent them a picture and saying, Jack approves of your disposal procedure. Send. And they sent me the sweetest email back going, thank you very much. We love Jack. That's superb. I wish everybody did that. I'm like, yeah, well, you wanted it destroyed. But I folded it out, broke it, and then give it to the dog, and then sent a picture with the dog with it in his mouth, half in half. I'm like, yeah, the dog destroyed it.
Now that you've told me that story, I feel like it does sound quite petty. Now I'm doubting myself. I'm having second thoughts now.
No. It's destroy it.
Oh yeah, I mean the shirts. I mean, it wouldn't. Anyway, that wasn't the major issue. Anyway, the issue was they just not bothered to send them back. I thought, oh yeah, we'll get these replacements done. They'll get on with them because I did promise I would bump them up. But obviously these are replacements, so I promised to get them in quick. And then when they got back to me today, and I said, look, you've left it a month. I've not sent the shirts back. I've sort of just assumed that you're not going to bother. I can still replace them for you.
I want the originals back, yeah.
Well, yeah, I can still replace them for you if you get them to us, but also, I can't rush them through for you now. It's been over a month. They'll have to go in standard turnaround. And this is where it really kicked off. Because at the time,
audacity.
I mean, at the time, the screens were just, they're just off at press. They're easy to pull on and reprint them a little bit quicker. But now, I've got a chuffing auto coming at some point. I've got work coming out my ears. I'm behind because I've just had chuffing thy knows what.
Because you've just beaten COVID with a stick, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not my fault. You know what I mean? I thought I would be totally reasonable.
Yeah.
And apparently, no, I was being unprofessional, and I don't look at you as an Amazon or Argos. Fuck off. I hope they listen to it. I don't even care at this point.
Chances
Don't
are
even
slim, so you're okay.
Dear. So back to your 2 week. You Germany trip's done.
Yep.
Got me sent back home. Done a bit of DIY.
Yep.
And then you went to see.
I went to see our mate Sarah at
sheep in
Heckpress in
Wales.
the middle of deepest, darkest Wales. You know, when it looks like it takes you 2 hours to get there, but in reality it's 3.5 weeks. So,
Right.
you know, I had to set off sort of like around about July just to get there in time.
Right.
No, I got there and obviously Sarah's got Alex's press and she's really happy with it. She's going well with it, but she had a multicolour job she wanted to do. The customer had some precise requirements to do. Sarah's renowned for high quality discharge prints.
Yeah.
This wasn't a high quality discharge print because the garment wouldn't take it. So we had to go with some Aquaflex V2 from
Our mate's Magna.
as an underbase, and 2 of the colours on top were plastisol. In
2?
fact, well, 2 or 3, yeah. And on the last job, 2 were plastisol, 1 was Aquaflex. In the first,
I thought it was like a big, massive, super complex job.
No, we had 4 jobs to do. So 2 shirts, front and back of each. Big open area, which is always crap. Only 1 flash. This is the issue with buying a small press.
It's gonna cause me issues, I think.
You're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer. Not having multiple flashes, not having the space available. No, it's completely impossible. You should send it back now. I can't even believe you've gone down that road.
I'll just have to come with a promotional printer and just do vests, Ivy's vests.
Yeah, Ivy's vests and bags, 1 colour bags, you'll be fine. 1,200 an hour, sorted.
That'll do.
No, it was a difficult job. It was on 3 types of tees and then sweats.
And this was the same job because that always makes it. That's all. It's underestimated how much of a nuisance that is. And I think that's the right word. It's a nuisance.
It was horrible. So
customers just think it's normal. They just expect it, don't they?
Oh yeah, I just want to run on straight. Just run me 20 sweats as well.
Oh, just chuck one toddler t-shirt in for our lad, will you?
Yeah. I did a job in the week before with Lucas in Timeless. And this was, okay, so 100% coverage is bad. Yeah? So a big white square, that's bad.
I saw it, it's so massive.
The dog one.
Yeah.
So we had
it was like basically back close to seams.
Oh, that was superb loading from yours truly. But
I was actually very impressed.
The coverage was 100% coverage of white base. Then because 1 screen's not enough, 2 screens of 100% coverage. So in theory, in reality, we're 200% coverage.
Yeah.
Then we have a colour. So now at 300% coverage. Then we have a white and a black. So we're probably at, if you really break it down, 400% ink coverage on a t-shirt, which we just about got away with. And it's like, oh yeah, that's on sweats as well. Are you fucking kidding me? Did you wait for me to do this? It's a horrible job. All water-based, all Magna, Aquaflex. Which, as we know, we love Magna as much as we do.
Absolutely love it.
It's as sticky as fuck. And if we don't get it right, it's a horrible thing to use. And we got it on and off.
Any job transitioning is a nightmare in itself.
That job in Plastisol would have been horrible. So that job in water-based was horrible with 0.5 at times.
A little bit lesser.
So,
I mean, did you have to change anything when you started loading sweatshirts? Did you make any changes, or could you not? Yeah, well, this is what I'm thinking.
Number 1 off contact. Number 2,
the beauty of an auto, you can do that. Couldn't do that on that because you change the off contact on that. You go like this. It's have to wake up. Oh, no, it's your phone, isn't it?
Yeah, it didn't change the. I've rejected it.
What? Oh.
Somebody from work.
I was going to say, I got it.
No. It didn't change the the outcome.
So the print look the same on the shirts as the sweatshirts.
Yeah.
Right.
But on an auto, changing the off contact doesn't change the registration.
No, this is what I mean. It's because it's completely parallel. You're just going up and down.
You're going up and down.
Whereas for me,
so it's tied.
I'm getting that angle,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, dots on one screen they start to shift like that.
Mm.
That's a really good explanation, actually. Your base goes like this.
Yeah.
The base, you've got it set like that. Then you go to put some sweatshirts on, and it goes.
No, you don't. You don't get that on an auto. You get screen stretch from the stretch of the emulsion, but stretch of the screen. But other than that, you don't get much.
No.
So the biggest
So that's good.
Yeah, the biggest problem was a huge area. So all we really did was drag everybody in. Right, stop that press. You come over here. You're now ink monitor, your spray monitor, and your shirt monitor. And so between us, we said, right, okay, when this starts, it never stops.
No, just go through it.
I don't care if global thermonuclear war breaks out. This job will not stop until all 70 are done. And so that's what we did. So we sat and had a meeting before the job. Okay, we sat down and go, okay, what's the issue?
Game plan.
We had a game plan. There are two phrases that I hate when talking about sales, and it is proactive and reactive. And I hate them for
I don't even know. I didn't even notice what you did there.
So the two things, proactive and reactive. I don't know what I did. Maybe I did that. I don't know. I don't know.
No.
Maybe that works. Maybe that works. Was it that?
right. Bob just pops his head up in the corner. Hey guys, check out my ice bath, bro.
Yeah. So we sat down and we said, okay, here's the game plan. What's going to be the issue here? Obviously, big open area. It's going to be sticky. We've got to be on top with the glue. We're going to be on top with the heat. We're on top with the ink. It's going to suck ink out the universe. It's going to absolutely eat it all. This is like an A3 coverage of full 100% open area. And because we had that game plan beforehand, it actually ran really well. The first three looked a bit crappy. We were like, what do we do? So whatever we do, we're not stopping. I'll pay for those first three shirts. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So we kept going, and the job ran fantastic. And at the end of the dryer, bear in mind let's say 350% ink coverage on a shirt. It felt awesome.
It did. That's impressive.
It felt fantastic. It did. It felt better than any DTF. Because in the middle of this job, I uttered the words that no screen printer should ever utter. This should be DTF.
Yeah.
And people looking at me, what did you just say? Did you swear? I went,
Lucas pays you?
Don't tell Lucas, but this should be DTF. It'd be so simple, so cheap, and so easy to just fucking transfer this. And we could do it in-house. But anyway, we did it. We printed it. It looked fantastic. The seps helped. So instead of a base white, we had two greys. Instead of a white, we printed the white on top of the grey, on top of two greys, and it still looked white, despite being a high mesh count. We didn't knock the black out of the white, so we printed black on top of white, which is a lot like.
Oh, it's usually a no, but if you got away with it and it had to be,
I had to double hit it. I had to put some big angle on it. I had to put a soft squeegee in it to stop the pinholes. The first 3 or 4 had pinholes, and I had to make some adjustments on the fly. But overall, it looked fantastic. And then,
what did you do to eliminate the pinholes? Just change some pressure or angle, or.
So here goes my teachings. Every problem we see on press falls into 2 camps.
Gather around, children. Gather around.
It falls into 2 camps. There is either not enough ink, or there is too much ink.
Yeah, I've heard you say this before.
So every problem can be solved by analysing what's the problem and which camp does it fall in.
Yeah.
So pinholes, which camp would you put it in?
Well, it's not enough ink.
So therefore, how do I increase the ink?
Softer blade.
So I have 6 variables.
Well, softer blade, higher mesh count.
Mesh, blade, speed, pressure, travel, angle.
Yeah.
So using those 6 variables, how do I increase the amount of ink getting pushed through the holes? Not going to
On
change
the fly.
Not going to change the mesh. Done.
No.
Not
Can't
going to change
change
the
your durometer.
blade because the blade is done. So that leaves me speed, pressure, travel, and angle. All very easily available to move and change on press. So we changed one of those. I'm not telling you which one, otherwise I'll do myself out of work and I still need to eat next year. So
I mean, it'd be irrelevant anyway because nobody's printing that particular job.
No.
So it's
we
always
needed more
be
ink.
job dependent.
So we increased the amount of ink getting pushed through the holes, which eliminated the pinholes.
Should have tried some self-leveling by Magna.
Had a chance to yesterday and I refused it.
Did you really? Why?
Because of that crappy nightmare job I had to do at Sarah's.
Oh, you're just a bit busy.
Yeah, I thought this is not the chance, not the time to try a new
Not
technique.
The time. I've had Sarah me here all day. I just want to go home. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. My ears were bleeding, to be fair, just on the left side where she was stood. Hi, Sarah.
Hey up, Sarah. We're only joking. Sarah's our mate.
She is,
Sarah.
yeah.
She's all right.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Just a friend. I like Sarah. She's all right. Bless
Yeah.
her. So generally, so that's Germany done and dusted.
Germany's done and
There was
dusted.
a question. There was a question that popped up, and I thought I'm going to ask you this. What was it? Now then, we were talking about DTF. What we're going? You say this should be DTF. This really fun about. Why are we opposed to screen printed transfers? They're better.
Multicolour.
Now they're not
End of story.
necessarily. Yeah, it's not as easy to do photographic prints, but you will get better definition from printing on a transfer sheet than you do a shirt. So you must be able to get some pretty high level screen print transfers.
Single colour only. Can't apply that to multicolour. How do you dry it in between?
You can make multiple screen printed transfers. I bought enough. I bought enough to know that you can do it.
Where have you bought them from?
Inatex.
So how do you think they do them?
They just do it mirror image.
As what?
I assume they're flashed. I assume it's a low, like obviously not enough of a flash to curl the paper. But I'm sure.
Have you ever tried flashing transfer paper or even PET film?
Yeah, it's a fucking idiot.
Did it work for you?
No.
No.
Did it work for me? No, I think I only ever really managed single colour stuff.
Yeah, so single colour stuff all day long, not an issue. High definition, no problem. When we get into multicolour, we're getting to photographic. The screens can't cope with it. We can't cope with the multicolour. The only way to do it is to put it through a dryer in between. If we put it through a dryer in between, we then got feed registration margin of error. So we have to take the corner and put it into a corner. Take the paper and put it into a feed edge corner. Pretty much like a tri-lock system, pretty much.
Right.
So there's a margin of error there, and so we usually put a bleed on that to cover that. And so we end up with not so high resolution. So if we take out the colour bit and replace the colour bit with digital and only put one screen on the back, the last print to go down is the screen, which gives it the white base, so that when we transfer, that's the brightness.
Yeah.
Then it works. So this is the theory of DTF, digital transfer film. And for a long time, people would buy a 150 grand Ricoh digital CMYK printer, which would print a full colour photographic image in the same place on an A3 piece of film every time. They would take that printed piece of film, put it into a Sakurai printer, screen printer, and print white Aquaflex, Plastisol, whatever you want on the back as a backing. And so it's a two process. We would digitally print the image and screen print the backing. And for a long
Kind
time,
of a digital squeegee situation.
for a long time, this is the standard for the bag printers, for the big format licensed printing, where you would buy a stack of photographic transfers that you would apply whenever you like. Even vectors, 2 or 3 colours. The colours were digital CMYK, and the backing was screen.
I wonder. I need to have a look. I don't know if I've got any.
And then
Potentially have a couple kicking about.
somebody went, do we need the screen bit? Can we digital the white bit? And everybody at the minute went, no. That white bit is the bit that makes it stick. That's the plastisol, the Aquaflex. It's the sticky stuff. So there's no way it's going to stick if we don't use a screen printed stuff. And then somebody went, how about if we digitally print it, and then while it's wet, sprinkle it with a glue? And that glue makes it stick.
Yeah.
And here is born DTF. We CMYK it, then we print it over the top with digital white. That digital white will not stick to a shirt unless we put some glue into it. If we put some glue into it and digitally print it, it blocks the print head. So the glue and the white have to be separate. So we'll print the white as it is with no glue. It won't stick to anything. If we just try and transfer it, it won't transfer. Then we'll pass it through a transfer glue, a powdered glue. We'll powder the glue really fine into a mist, and we'll sprinkle that onto the wet ink, and it'll stick to the wet bits, and it'll fall off the dry bits. And here is born DTF. So we have an all-in-one system where we used to have digital CMYK, white backing as screen, and then powder. We now have the whole thing in one go. Jack, you're a knobhead. Go on, go for a week. Knobhead dog.
Is it just at your phone case?
It's just looking at me. It's like, yeah, well, I did this for you. If you don't let me out, I'm going to ring Torres up and tell him it was a fake. So herein lies the birth of DTF, digital transfer film.
So what you're trying to tell me? Am I right in you in assuming that you're saying there is no such thing as multicolour screen printed transfers?
Oh, there are, but they're expensive because they have to go through the press for every colour. So if you have a 4-colour transfer, it has to be printed 4 times. The dog's a dickhead.
Sorry.
Come on, you knobhead. What a dick.
I'm just trying to find it in emails.
So yeah, you can get multicolour transfers. Atex, Abatex, something like that. Used to have, even GPS in Sheffield used to have a single cut. It's very difficult to get a multicolour press to print transfers because they don't like to be printed wet on wet. So we have to dry in between. Okay, we're agreed with that. We have to dry in between. If we use heat to dry in between, we shrink the carrier film or paper. So the best way to do this is to control the heat, load it into a load stop, into a feed edge, print it, take it off, put it down a dryer at 100 degrees. Dead on 100 degrees for 90 seconds. Done, finished, it's cured, it's just gelled. Then take that same thing back, put it to the same feed edge, print the second colour. The skill is loading the paper in and setting the register to the feed edge, so we never move the feed edge in the middle. Feed edge is usually 3 points, one at the bottom corner and one here. So it's usually like that, which is really rude, and it hasn't set off an emoji like I thought it would.
Can you make your own custom ones?
Yeah. I so want some GIFs. I'm going to make some GIFs, yeah.
Oh, hang on. What are you looking for? There's a Dr. Pepper in there as well, I think.
I'm so reporting you to child labour.
He's over 18.
It's okay, I can pay him £3 an hour, it's fine.
I'm just looking at the invoice. and they've used the word rapid ink transfers and subliblock.
So subliblock is the backing that they put on.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
the
that- it was
migration
for
blocker.
polyester.
Migration
Yeah.
blocker. Yeah.
But rapid ink transfers, that doesn't say screen print. I might be wrong. I just assumed. I mean, I did ask for
You know
screen
what assume
print.
does?
Make an ass of you.
An ass
that
of
assume?
you and me.
Oh.
Assume.
I like it. I remember that one. I use that one day. Yeah. All right, then, so I'm all as usual. I'm completely fucking wrong.
Not completely, just a little bit.
I have valuable asset to this podcast.
Not yet, but you will be soon.
One day it'll sink in. So now the DTF screen print transfer thing. All right, we've done that conversation. That one's up in air as far as I'm concerned, because I'm still not fully convinced you can't get screen printed multicolour transfers. But who am I to doubt you? So the jobs, you went with the old V2 with plastisol on top.
Yeah.
What was so complicated about it? I thought this was a real complicated. I mean, apart from the garment change,
No,
why is it so difficult to do?
I-
Why?
I wish I could answer.
Plastisol.
I really wish I could answer, but you're going to have to hold it there. Because neither do we.
Oh, I could do it with as well, actually.
Again, really?
It's a bit nippy, so I thought I'd put my jacket on. Got some show and tells for you.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. Right. No, not special.
So, let's have a look at your show and tells. Let's have a look. Let me put my glasses on, my old man glasses on. This looks like white V2, white V2.
White V2.
Yeah. What mesh count?
Very.
Come on, share me your mesh count, because I've got various options here. What you're using? 243s?
No. 62. Is it 62 or 63?
62 it would be.
Yeah, depends on detail. If it's super, if it's super blocky, it's stuck.
That's okay, you carried it off perfectly. Nobody even noticed.
It's because I'm sat on a weight plate again.
Again?
Yeah.
So I think 5577 is
I
a
need
really...
some 55s.
5577 for two bases, I think is superb. But, you know, it depends on design. And while we were at Sarah's, she never had anything less than a 55. I'm like, you don't have a 43? No, don't have one.
No, well, at one point, I had every intention of replacing all my 40s. And I think I probably will now I'm getting the auto.
Yeah.
I think I probably will. I think all the 40s will be replaced with 55s.
You think it's working?
I mean, it's a good way to... I mean, you're just getting a little bit extra sharper detail out of it, aren't you, really? So it'd be... but I think I'll probably do a lot more multi-screens for my whites. You know, rather than flash printing the same screen.
Oh, absolutely.
I intend to do more of that.
Absolutely.
I've even thought about doing different techniques, like using discharge base and then having a plastisol white over the top, or even V2 white over the top of a discharge base. Even if it's just...
We have to address discharge. Okay. Right off from the bat, I fucking love discharge.
I don't.
Okay, I have done from when it first came out. But right now, in today's era, with today's shirts and today's environment, it sucks. It used to be the best thing since sliced bread. It no longer is.
In terms of compatibility?
Yeah.
Is that what you dislike?
Because shirts aren't predictable. The colour's not predictable. The dryer consumption's too high. There's too many variables. The margin for error is so minute. You know, I was at Lucas's and we ran a discharge job. Put some tape under the screen. Everything was great. Then at the end of the dryer, 20 minutes later, we find out some sweatings occurred and we've got a tape line.
But to be fair,
and it made me want to go home. I can't believe this has happened. This is shit. This is crap. There is no way of predicting. I can't put a process in that stops this because you can't see it at the top. Okay, don't tape up. But we use reg marks. We have to use reg marks to tape over the top. The ink gets underneath at the top. I can't trust it. I'm on an auto. I can't see what's happening. And it
Yeah,
bugged
you're
me
right.
to death. And I love the feel. I love the look. I love the vibrancy of discharge. Everything about the printability of discharge I love. But the
Yeah.
actual usability makes it actually not a viable option anymore.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree, and it's the reason I don't use it now. I think because I've got some new toys coming, I'm sort of getting excitable and
You never said.
coming up with, I can do this, I can do this, I can start mixing these inks, etc., etc. And I thought, maybe certain jobs where I know it's 100% cotton. I'll try to think of how to get the best possible white. And I thought, well, V2 with a V2, two different, maybe a 55 and a 77.
55,
55 and a
77,
90.
V2, 2 strokes on the 55, 1 stroke on the 77, for me, is one of the best whites. And that's
Does a 90 is it not better?
Not enough.
55, 90?
Not enough.
Not enough ink. No.
The angles and the blades are important as well. I won't tell everything, otherwise I'll never get any work as long as I live. So.
Oh, I know. Well, for me, I mean, one of the first things I'm going to do, because though you're not going to be here to help me, is I'm going to do some single colour whites.
I'll be here in spirit.
Oh yeah, I know your moral support will be
Just
there.
about 6 hours behind, that's all.
Yeah. One of the first jobs I intend to do is to run some single colour white jobs, V2.
Right,
And
like a little logo about left breast that's sort of like a palm with...
Yeah, if you want some, if you need some. And the purpose of that is obviously to learn the machine.
Yeah.
Yep, Jack. Hey up. Hiya. I don't think he's going to acknowledge me. He don't like looking at camera, does he? He's very shy.
And this is a biscuit there. There's a biscuit there. He's like, hi. Yeah.
Bless him. He's been a little tour.
So what are you going to do? Single
colour.
colour.
White on press, get some white jobs on, obviously to learn the machine, but I want to learn the angle and the amount of... how far can I dial back the pressure to get the smoothest print before it stops pushing through, you know what I mean?
That's easy. It's just 2.7.
No, well, there we go. That's all that job then.
Is it
So that is the
bollocks,
best.
though? There is no number.
Right.
There is no number. It still relies on your perception, intelligence, and
Job
ability
specific?
to work out. Yes, screen specific, job specific, and screen specific, and ink specific, and t-shirt specific. Which is why when I go into places, I don't say there is. It's not 2.7. It's 2.7 today. In fact, it's 2.7 this morning. It's 2.9 in the afternoon. And during the middle of the day, it's 3.5. And you know when you stop for a cigarette, it's now 4.6.
Right.
And when people say, well, how am I supposed to work on that? It uses your intelligence based on substrate, ink, squeegee, speed, angle, all these things, tension, the position of Mercury in retrograde, all these things, they all come into play to work out exactly what's the best.
I won't get a Ace Colour staple t-shirt, put white through it, the same settings every single time.
No, you're a fool if you think you will. Do you do now? You don't do that now?
No, well, I don't. No, I suppose I don't, but no.
A lot is done right now. I tell you the major difference you're going to find between a manual and auto. Massive, major difference. And we could sort of like put it in the word as feedback.
Yeah, well, this is where I'm like,
you will get feedback from a print. So when you hold a squeegee in your hand and you push it away from you,
when you push it completely flat,
when you pull that squeegee towards you, you get feedback of the rheology, the viscosity of the ink, the tension, the EOM, the substrate, the moisture content in the ink. All these things you're getting the information from. You're not processing and giving them numbers. You're just getting a feel for them.
Yeah. It's like
and you'll pull the feel, and then secondly you'll look and you'll see some didn't quite clear. So you'll give it another pull.
Yeah.
Now sometimes you'll give it another pull without a flood. Sometimes you give it a pull with a flood.
Yeah, true.
Based on your perception. Based on your perception of what happened when you pulled that squeegee. Did I push at the same level? Did I have the angle at the same level? Did I use the same speed? And, the whole time that you are manually printing, you are trying to print like a machine. And when we can finally print like a machine, we can assign some numbers to it, so it does make it simpler. It doesn't mean the same numbers are going to work every time.
Every single time.
It means we have a feedback of, oh, well, I felt it was good. Now I know that 3 was good.
Well, do you establish a baseline and then from that baseline, all right, not quite enough, let's just amp it up a notch, or let's dial it back a touch. But at least if you've got a baseline.
Yeah. So I have a baseline. Let's use angle as a perception, as an example.
7, you just told me.
That's the whole number for everything. Only with
angle,
Mercury.
Speed.
Only with Mercury in retrograde. Yeah. When it goes into Neptune, you're screwed.
Pressure.
So
right. Okay.
if we take angle as an example, the options we have are 0 to 30 in 5-degree steps. So there are 6 steps.
That's same on all machines?
Roughly. Yeah, roughly.
All right.
So between 0 to 30, we have 6 steps. So if we start at the middle step at 15, that's a good starting point. That's a good sort of vanilla starting point. If I really want to go sort of like super kinky, I can go to 20, 25, 30. If I want to dial it back and be super sort of like straight, then I can go 10, 15, and 5.
What? Wait, how do you...
So I've got these options. So when I work like that, then I can get a basic understanding of, well, I know 10 works in this scenario. Open area, blocky artwork, it's vector, it's Aqua V2 on a 49 or 48 with this tension at this off contact. It works.
Yeah, I guess
I
it's
can repeat
exactly the same. Yeah.
The beauty
it's
of
the
a
same
press
is exactly what I do.
is the first print's the same as the last print.
Yeah. No,
because it doesn't get tired, it doesn't get high, it doesn't get drunk, it doesn't sleep with your sister. It does all these things that it's supposed to do, that it will never let you down. Basically, it's predictable.
Yeah, I guess this is what I already do to an extent. You learn the variables and you feel, etc.,
and you're trying to print like a machine,
etc. Try to do it now. Well, I'm just going to learn them variables again. That's all, just on a machine this time.
We're going to apply numbers to them rather than feel to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We have the 5-minute warning.
5-minute warning. All right, time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think it. Unless there's all else you want to touch on, it'd be unfair to touch on an anti-moire.
Mwah. That's the noise that the plastisol makes when it picks off on the third colour.
Yeah.
Mwah.
No, Sarah told me something that I need to watch out for. She told me like a specific mode or something. And basically, when you're doing your first print, you don't want all the heads to come down and print at the same time. You just want that first one. But then when it goes underneath, the second one, third, I forgot what word she said. Index something or other.
That's quite specific to a brand. That, do you want to go there?
I'm not suggesting either way.
So it's a delayed off contact, a delayed lift.
Was that the one? Possibly.
It's a delayed lift. Yeah.
I'm sure index was in there at some point. But anyway. Anti-moire.
Mwah.
Hey up, lovely boys. I have been enjoying listening to the latest podcast. So much technical info. Fucking hell, you'd be disappointed this weekend. For an old Screenprint dog like myself.
Dog. You know my theory on this? Old Screenprint dog.
Oh, have you just shot yourself in foot there? I've actually accused him of it. Now, I must admit, he did not deny it.
Ah, there you go.
So there is some legs on that one. Thank you a million times over for your answers to my questions. Incidentally, while standing at the press again this week, I noticed there was an upcoming job with numbers, to go on the back of jerseys. Don't you just hate them? It means a trip across to the manual, some smaller screens to be burned, and plastisol transfers printed, which we've just been talking about transfers, dusted with glue and partially cured at a lower temperature. We run a separate oven just for plastisol transfers. That might be somebody to look into. to avoid those jobs getting in the way of work we do on the auto.
I'm screwed now with this guy. This guy's got much bigger premises than
I
we
think he's
thought
just
of.
making stuff up.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think she is.
Anyhow, possibly. Anyhow, I was wondering what you do for numbers. Do you store up plastisol number transfers with different fonts that you pull off a shelf when needed and just offer those to customers? Or do you just do a new run for every job you get? Or do you just send off to supercolour transfers to keep on a shelf for later? To be honest, I don't really get asked for numbers. The only thing I can sort of relate to is in a neck labels, and I encourage my more regular customers to allow me to bulk up on their label design as a transfer, and then I just pull it off a shelf and heat press it over and over. So I do like the idea of having it sort of ready to go. I mean, you must be in an industry. You must be doing like levers to orders and stuff, maybe.
Football shirts, I think. Football kits, usually 17s to 20 pieces.
Yes, he said jerseys, didn't he? So
Yeah.
it probably is. Yeah.
So my take on this is I've seen both 3 options. So the 3 options are.
Have you seen the presses where it's like?
Have you seen my video of that?
Big giant screen.
Have you seen my video of that? I loved watching that. I fucking loved watching that over in America.
Cool to watch.
I loved watching it over in America. The guy running it had it nailed. Absolutely nailed. Because every screen drops into a hole. So there's no registration, it just drops into a hole.
Perfectly in place.
Yeah, and it's always in place. The one next to the 2 for a 12. The 2 in the middle for it's on a 2. They're like three pegs, and you drop onto the peg every time.
Yeah.
I loved watching it.
It looks
work.
cool.
Oh, it was superb. So that's one option. What we call a number press. And some of the number presses are they vertically come over to you. So every sort of 45 degrees is another set of screens. And you spin them over, spin them over, spin them over. And each 45 degree increment is a font.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then we go across 1 to 10. Well, 1 to 9, 1 to 0.
I'll have to look that video up.
And it's superb to watch, it really is. And that's the old school way of doing it. And if you have a guy whose only job it is to put numbers on the back of shirts, that's probably the most efficient way.
If you're doing
most of us don't have a number press, as we call it, and most of us don't have a guy. So the next best option is transfers. So then we're faced with the option print my own or keep a stock from Express or whoever. And
I guess this conversation applies to. It could also apply to my situation with the inner neck labels. Obviously, numbers is its own thing, and if you've got the customer base that needs numbers quite regularly, but if you're listening, you could apply this to your situation. Is it better for you to print your own transfers, or is it easier to just outsource them? I guess that's the overall question.
So this is the thing. The 2 choices are a stock of bought or a stock of printed. So the only time I saw a stock of bought worth doing was the Premier League.
Right, yeah.
So you could buy Premier League numbers with the little lion in the bottom with the FA Premier League in the logo in the bottom from Express 1 to 0. Keep on the shelf, and if somebody wanted a Liverpool shirt, they brought you a Liverpool shirt.
Oh, right.
And you wanted the official numbers on the back with Little John is a cunt, Little John is a knob on running across the shoulders. You could spell the numbers in whatever spell the letters in whatever you wanted, but the number 10 had the FA Premier League on it. I've got that shirt somewhere. That for me would be the cleanest, easiest, most easy to organise method. And then obviously the third option is print your own fonts. Then you have to make a screen for every font and every number, 10 of them 1 to 0. and then put them
Yeah.
together and heat press them.
You see, I go down the route of transfers for net labels because it's just cost wise, profit wise. It's all right. I'll lose a little bit of profit, but it saves me that much time. But it's just you know,
It's worth
the cost, the profit is negligible enough that I just say fuck it.
Hmm.
But if you are doing enough numbers and you make enough markup on them numbers, yeah, maybe it isn't worth you going that extra effort to make your own transfers and store them.
What did they used
I
to
mean,
do? JD Sports. So you used to be able to walk into JD Sports and get your
put a
own
number on anything.
name and number on anything, and it was basically you had a little stack of letters and a stack of numbers, all in the same font, all in black with a gold outline on, all printed sort of like in bulk and then delivered and cut out. So they made them really cheap, silk screen usually, and then at point of sale, you would build the personalised shirt. Little John is an angel.
If you wanted to produce your own, maybe get a DTF machine.
Yes,
Now,
this is
if
where
you get
this is where
customers
DTF
coming
is
through the
coming.
door-
This is where DTF is coming into its own. Yeah.
Because you don't have to have
A
100
stock of anything.
zeros, ones to. If you've got a team that come in, well, we want this number to this number, you can print them all off with zero spare and press them. Job done. And then you don't have to have stock of. Oh, I've got this font to choose. You say to your customer,
What do you want?
Whatever font you want.
What do you want? Yeah.
You go for it.
This is the
So maybe
beauty of
that's something to look
DTF.
into.
DTF is really, really good for that. I would say you could get into DTF. Absolute lowest cost, probably slow and not very efficient, 10 grand.
Yeah, I've seen sort of lower ends about.
That's a
10 grand.
digital printer that prints white, goes through a powder shaker, comes out the other end ready to cut. You could probably spend 30 grand and get an efficient system that required zero skill. No skill at all. Draw
very
the
user-friendly.
picture, press print. Comes out as a transfer that you can press onto a shirt.
Depends what you're doing, doesn't it? I guess it depends what you scale. I mean,
Like I said,
anti-moire
when I went to Benelux,
Loaded.
which is not a massive area, and I found 200 of these units in operation making money, that's when I realised this is not a fad. This is not going to go away.
No.
This is part of the process now. This is part of the decoration process.
I think so.
The
yeah,
massive
very-
big job that we did, which was a pain in the ass, a high risk, took 4 staff, could have been done to DTF in half a day with zero risk.
Yeah, I know a fellow who's got one. He's a screen printer, and he's got himself a DTF machine, and it's only 10. I'm assuming it's only a 10 grand job. And he's got it for 2 reasons. One, just handy to have around, and then the odd job it helps him out exactly in those situations like you've just said. But it's not. He don't use it that often, but it's a tool that's there for him if he needs it. But in the meantime, he sells transfers. He'll sell transfers to people, and it's surprising how big that market in itself is. People who want DTF transfers, from hobby, people who just want a couple of random transfers printing for themselves, maybe even just to press themselves or whatever.
Screen printers love it. Screen printers want to know if there's a market for this before they buy it, so they'll use a service.
So.
They use a service like him and go, okay, I'll keep buying from you, and then all of a sudden they look back over the year and go, well, I spent 25 grand with you. The machine's only 30.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be worth me doing my own.
So much to consider.
Absolutely.
Anti-moire.
DTF can't go away. It has to stay. It has to be a part of the process we do. We are garment. We're not screen printers. We're garment decorators, and we decorate garments. Whether we embroider them, whether we transfer them, whether we silicone screen print them, whatever it is we do, we decorate garments. And if DTF, which does not mean down to fuck, apparently, means it means digital direct to film. Don't do a session with me with beer. Then it's part of the process. We should embrace it. How it affects DTG, that's a big, deeper question that we're maybe not ready for.
It's a question mark, isn't it? Yeah. Well, time will tell. It's one of those.
I think it's
Practicality
affecting
will
DT.
practicality won over.
I think it's affecting DTG more than we predicted, and I'll leave it there. More than we predicted.
Yeah. All right. Right then. So that was episode 61.
Yes, I think we're done. Yep, my tea's ready. We can smell it cooking. So
Oh, what are you having?
we're having steak and veg.
Oh, bit of steak.
Proper steak and veg. It's a big fatty piece of steak.
Oh, that does rate, lad. Does chuffing rate.
That's right.
I'm having fuck off because I'm going to be washing screens now till about.
You're not washing screens at all. You're going to watch the lad clean screens. Go and buy him a beer.
Supervise.
You're going to buy him a fish scallop butty.
Might not be open. We shall have a look. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Sorry we missed last week's episode. I was sort of dying, you know.
Yeah, but Danny's a wuss. So other than that, we're all right.
It's all right. I made it through. I'm here to tell the tale.
Soldiered on. Got a little badge. Said Mummy's
I even had a job.
Mummy's little
So I had a
soldier.
deadline. Yeah, Mummy's little soldier. Well, a job with a deadline. I had to come in, and I struggled through it, but I got it done. And I got it out just in time. They even emailed me to say they are fantastic.
There'll be a place in heaven reserved for you.
They will. Oh, God.
Right, all that remains to be said is, I'll say it. It's goodbye from me, Tony P. at Palm Print, and
goodbye from me also, Danny D. for Pursuit Print Co.
And
See
we'll
you next week.
catch up with you next week. See you.
All best.
Oh, you can give me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.